Welcome back, and I hope you're dry where you are. We have flooding in the state, an accused cop killer in court, and COVID in decline, at least by some measures. My name's Ike Morgan, and we're down in Alabama. Torrential rain fell in parts of Alabama last night, causing dangerous flash flooding that covered roads, washed away cars, trapped people, and soaked basements and bottom floors. Hoover, the Birmingham area, and parts of North Alabama were pounded by the late evening rains that fell on already saturated ground. Dozens of rescue calls came in from Birmingham to Pelham to Hoover, with people trapped in their cars and sometimes on top of their cars. Depending on when you're listening to this, rainfall totals may or may not be confirmed, but in some places, we're probably looking at double-digit inches. Today, look for news and photos from last night's flooding at al.com and al.com/weather. The suspect in the 2019 killing of Mobile police officer Sean Tudor has been found guilty on 2 charges in federal court, reports al.com's Tanger Smith. Marco Perez still faces a capital murder charge in state court. In the federal trial, he was found guilty of possession of a stolen firearm and receiving a firearm while under indictment. However, he was found not guilty on carrying, using, and discharging a firearm during and in relation to a crime of violence and obstruction of justice by killing a witness. Officer Tudor was working undercover when he was killed, and parts of the arguments the jury heard had to do with whether Perez knew he was a law enforcement officer. Sentencing for the federal crimes will take place in early January, and Perez's state trial will be next year. Fuller Goldsmith, the 2017 winner of the Food Network's Chopped Jr. show, has died of cancer, reports AL.com's Howard Koplowitz. Goldsmith was a student at Tuscaloosa Academy, and he beat cancer 4 times in his life after being diagnosed at 4 years old. At 14, he won the culinary contest on the Food Network, and he's worked at Southern Ale House in Tuscaloosa. Fuller Goldsmith was 17 years old. One of the really tough aspects of this COVID-19 pandemic has been the situation where families haven't been able to visit or were restricted in their visiting of sick relatives. Well, some pretty good trending news is that as coastal Alabama sees its COVID-19 hospitalizations fall, some hospitals are starting to reconsider pandemic visitation restrictions, reports AL.com's John Sharp. The Gulf Coast and I-10 corridor was hit hard early by the Delta variant of the virus, and back on August 17th in just Mobile County, there were 486 COVID hospitalizations. Now compare that to early this week when the count was at 77. Ascension Providence Hospital in Mobile has seen a 78% decrease in COVID patients over the past month. And now that hospital is extending visitation hours and allowing 2 visitors at a time instead of only 1. Now, there's a similar situation across the bay at South Baldwin Regional Medical Center, where it's back to regular visitors, up to 2 family visitors per patient. Now, this is not to say that there's an across-the-board or across-the-state exhale just yet. Don Williamson is the executive director of the Alabama Hospital Association. Quote, "This is not the first I've heard of adjusting their visitation policy, but it's certainly not something happening commonly at this point. As it happens, it will happen on a hospital-by-hospital basis based on their location situations." Thank y'all so much for listening. We'll be back here again tomorrow. Until then, y'all come on by and see us whenever you can on the internet at al.com.